welcome back to Let's Talk About It. Today we got another special one on hand today. Some serious subject matter, but we hope to bring some joy. I hope you feel all the emotions in this interview. I hope you feel everything, because everything we're talking about affects us deeply. We're gonna be talking about mental health, and I have some mental health specialists here to talk some real talk with y'all today. So I'm not gonna keep running my mouth. I'm gonna kick it over to the first guest. Let her introduce herself. Then we'll go next door.
My name is Karllette Andrades. I'm a program manager, qualified mental health professional for adults in Richmond, Virginia, and I've been in the mental health field for about 15 years now.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Tonya Grimes. I'm also a qualified mental health professional for adults, and my current job title is case management. I have also been in the field for about a combination of 15 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
All right, so question. Going into that field, were you going into it consciously that you were going into the mental health field because of things you already knew, or was it just a job?
Initially, for me, I'm not going to say it was just a job, because, I started off in the school system with children.
Yeah.
And then I went on to Jacksonville Homes for real, initially for the money, and because I love working with youth.
Okay.
And then I started noticing some things in my own life and how to parent my children by dealing with children that had problems, behavior problems, mental problems, family problems. So then I started incorporating that with how I raised my own children.
Okay.
Then I transitioned into adults for the money. But then, because it's good money.
Okay.
But then I started seeing some things with my own self, some mental health issues with myself. So initially I went into it for the money, but then it really was an eye opener for me with my own personal life.
Right, because that's a field you because I worked in it shortly, not as long as you all. But once I started working at Jacksonville, I was like, hey, I'm kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I noticed I can snap off like that, or I react to certain things. So, is something wrong with me, or was something not wrong with them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna let you continue.
Well, mine is pretty similar. I don't think I started off, and I was also at Jacksonville Homes.
Mm-hmm.
I was 20 years old when I started there. No degree or anything. Yeah, I had only substitute. I was only a substitute teacher before then, as far as career wise. But when I started, I knew I wanted to help other, young females at the time, because it was just all female facility when I started in 2004. But I did not know the strong connection with mental health at the time.
Right.
I didn't come to, learn that and understand all the ins and outs until probably years later, till I, left about 9 years later. Yes, and that is it.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a strong connection that I didn't see when I first started out there.
Okay. So what were some of the things you started to notice?
You're talking about with juveniles at Jacksonville?
No, just as you began to get into the field and realize, hey, some of the things started to mirror, or you started to see certain things that you could relate to in the activities of the youth and with the adults.
Okay, so you've been on me over 30 years.
Come on.
So you know that I can relate to the youth as far as the behavioral issues and popping off and being defiant and aggressive and, basically not taking no shit.
Hey, can I tell this story?
And it's not bad.
To this day, I seen her in one of the best fights I've seen in my life. And I'm going to just describe it real quick. Just from my view. Yeah. I might have been a freshman or a sophomore. You were 2 years ahead of me. So I was a freshman or sophomore, one of the two. Still kind of reserved. Little drummer boy, but I still hadn't came all the way out my shell. We coming from lunch. And we get to the business hall. People from the area know what I'm talking about. And it's like, when a fight about to start, because the crowd moves a certain way. So a semicircle formed around this young lady that had her back against the locker. And it had to been about 12 girls taking turns. It seemed like it, hopping in and out the crowd, just trying to put hands on her. She didn't fall. She didn't buckle.
I remember that.
The girl standing right in front of me, she was standing there. Then she jumped in. I was like, how many of y'all gonna try to take her? I was like, this is amazing.
I came out that fight with one button missing.
I was like, yo, I've never seen nobody with that type of stamina and was not retreating during the fight. She was fighting back. But anyway, you can continue.
And look, Montel helped me learn how to fight. Just
okay, because you was rumbling.
He taught me how to box like a dude, for real.
And that's what you were doing. You were throwing hands. It won't know. These were punches. Yeah, this was fighting for real.
Yeah, so with that being said, I had my own anger issues. And I'm going to tell you, not until I became an adult did I understand that a lot of my anger was from trauma as a child.
Okay.
It's like I always felt like I had to defend myself, I had to protect myself, and I would do it by any means necessary. I ended up getting put out of school, moving to California the following year. Mr. Brick told me I couldn't come back to school.
Good gracious.
But with that being said, working with the juveniles, I definitely saw a lot of myself in them. And that's how I was able to build such a good rapport with them, because I would relate. I would let them know I haven't always been the person you see here.
Right.
And I feel like that's the way to really connect with people and see growth, is being able to be transparent.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the same thing with adults. I'm transparent with the adults that I work with. I'm going to let Tonya get into it, because then I'll get into the holistic wellness and how working with adults, how, I see a lot of what I've been through in my adult years.
Okay.
But the things that they rely on, I had to learn not to rely on those things in order for me to get to where I'm at now mentally.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. What things did you recognize as you were going throughout your career path?
Try to keep it in order. One of the first things I recognized was I pretty much grew up in different types of environments. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say I was sheltered, but it was like a culture shock for me coming into that field, because for one, I noticed that, okay, mental health is real as it can get.
Yes, indeed.
And at the same token, I wouldn't say I started to realize that at the same time, but down the road, I had to learn to recognize and know that it's okay. It's okay if you're struggling with mental illness, because when I first started out, though, I will say this, I was very, very strong in the church. I consider myself very religious.
Okay, we're going to get to all that.
And without getting too deep, but if you had asked me that back at that time, I would almost guarantee that everything as far as mental health is concerned can be prayed away. Yeah, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum now, but that was my views at that time. It was, even though I knew it was okay, it was like, it's okay, you can get through it through prayer. Okay. But that's how I felt. But what I've come to learn is that it takes a lot of effort. A lot of things play a part in progressing and dealing with mental health. But ultimately, I think the two things I get out is that it's real and it's okay. It's like, it's okay. It's part of who you are. Sometimes you get through it, and sometimes, unfortunately, people don't. But you do what you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. And I told all my clients that.
Some form of it.
Yeah. I told them some of us just know how to cope and deal
manage
with it
it better.
Some of us have a different support system. So all of us have battled with some type of mental health issue.
Absolutely.
And if somebody says that they have not, they're lying.
Right.
No matter how much money you have, no matter what your status is, look how many millionaires killing themselves.
And I think people associate when they hear mental health, you just automatically associate, somebody's crazy, or the top diagnosis, depression, bipolar, and different things like that. But so many other things fall into that category of mental health.
Yes.
People don't understand that when you're faced with life and you've gone through trauma, that's a weight. All these thoughts are just bottled up in your mind, and everybody doesn't know how to handle those. We're not trained we talk the ABCs, nobody teaches us along the way how to handle rejection, how to handle being hurt, being bullied. Nobody teaches us any of that.
That's true.
You try to figure it out on your own. The people around you can't really tell you anything, or they tell you to pray, fast, things of that nature. So it's important, even though unfortunate that we find out about it later on in life, it's important to have people like you all in the field.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we go on, I want to speak about trauma. Anything you can share that contributed to you having certain behaviors, and then recognizing that's where the behaviors come
One, the death of my father.
Okay.
And it was very tragic. My father being murdered in the house with me, my mother, my aunt, my cousins.
I did not know that.
Yeah, my father was murdered. Granted, I was only 4 months old, but now that I'm in this field, I understand trauma starts in the womb.
So you could pick that up even from then unconsciously.
Yes.
Not knowing.
Yes, definitely, because I truly believe it begins in the womb, because depending on what the mother is going through, that child feels it.
Okay.
So when my mother gave me some of her background as to, how she didn't want any children. And my father literally forced her to have me. Now she's thankful that she has me. As you know, I'm her only child. My father is deceased. So, it was meant for her to have me.
Okay.
And then so between what went on while I was in my mother's womb, then my father being murdered, then my mother, she's been very transparent. I've learned to see her as a woman and not as my mother, because I was angry with my mother because she gave me to my grandmother, which was my father's mother, who didn't treat me very well.
The one I stayed
No.
Okay, I can say that's different. That's
my
that's your
father's
mama's
mother's in Philly.
Okay.
So she let me live with my father's mother about the age of 5 or 6. She sent me there, and she didn't treat me very well. So that's where the anger started building up. My mother gave me away to. Granted, it was my grandmother, but I don't really have fond memories of her and my childhood there.
Wow.
So then my mom, I remember going to court. I was like 6 years old, and I remember being there begging, for the judge to let me go and live with my mother. And I remember that day so clearly. It was like getting out of jail. You know what I'm saying? But I was angry, with my grandmother, with my mother, So I truly believe that's where the anger started.
Okay.
And then just different things in my life. My mom with different marriages and, not having any siblings through my mother. I got a brother and sister, and that's why I take on, brothers and sisters. Because I was my mother's only child. That was traumatic for me as well. And then, of course, the marriage that I was in for 20 years. Everybody thought it was so perfect, and, you live in Walnut Heights, you drive them expensive cars and all of that, and you have people that know what the hell I was going through mentally. So it's just trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. And then the Christianity, for me, was trauma. We gonna get into that, but
You touched on two good things. Tonya, you talk about some of your...
Okay. Yeah. I do want to piggyback on something that Karllette said that we talked about before when she was talking about how trauma can start in the womb. I think people make the mistake of thinking that it has to be something like very traumatic visually in order for it to be trauma, and it doesn't. There are so many things that's passed on from generation to generation that you can't really see, and we don't know sometimes. You'll get familiar with a certain way of doing things, and you don't know where it started or where it came from until maybe somebody tells you or shares a story, one of your a grandparent or an elder in your family, and that'll help you make the connection. But not all the time is it something that we see that is passed on. There's a lot of things. I think our brain, however many nerves is there, it's a lot of things that's passed on that we can't see, and that's real. Okay. But as far as my trauma, that's one of the things. I'm glad I shared that, because I haven't had anything, I would say, visually traumatizing that anybody would be able to see. But looking back, as I got further and further into the field, I was able to recognize that I started suffering from mental health as early as I can, probably about 14, 15 years old. But I didn't know it at the time. Okay. Even at that age, I would, pray or write in my journal. And when I realized it, I am 37 years old now. I was 32.
Okay, so but what things did you begin to recognize at that age?
I was at 32.
No, at 14.
Okay.
What started happening then?
Well, I'm gonna start where I recognized that there was some mental health issues.
Okay.
At 32, I was doing some deep cleaning in my house. Found an old journal. I had a tote. And I had a journal in there, some old pictures, just cleaning out stuff. Went through reading my journal. It was the date was either 99 or 2000. November something. I remembered the date for a while, but 99 to 2000, I'm in middle school or my first year of high school. And I was just writing in there my prayers and journaling. And one of the things that I would share, because it was a really big part of me at the time.
Yeah, I feel you.
So one of the things I was journaling, like, God, why do I keep feeling like this? There's nothing wrong. This is okay in my life. I'm doing good in school. But it was always, and that's as early as I can remember, it was always this dark cloud just over me constantly. No matter what was going on in my life, everything could be all good. And I would smile so much. A few people nicknamed me, Smiley, or you always smiling.
Wow.
And I'm like, I'm happy. So I would say, I'm happy. So what is wrong with me? And when I recognized that, when I read that, when I was cleaning out at 32, I was still journaling on and off, not as much,
right.
But I had just prayed that same prayer or journaled that same statement less than a year before 30 something.
But you didn't realize
I didn't realize why or where it came from. And I'm like, I'm still struggling with the same thing. Like, this makes no sense. So that made me have to dig a little deeper and see what in the world is going on with my mental health. Because for me to have this same desire to fix what was wrong with me, it just made me look into other avenues, like, cause something ain't working, and it's other things I need to dive into to figure it out. And that's when I got into what we had touched on a little bit earlier, like holistic health and teachings and different things like that, and wellness overall, not just through what I was doing at the time, which was religion.
And that's a hell of a drug.
Yes, it is.
We're gonna get to it. Okay. With as much detail as you want to share, but I just want to know, okay, how did mental health play a role in relationships? I know you were married. I don't know if you ever been married.
No.
Okay. No. So you can divulge as much or as little, or how it affected, or what part it played in you making certain decisions to be where you are now.
My mental health and relationships. I'm gonna tell you, I didn't recognize how the marriage I was in was affecting me mentally until I started working with adults in the mental health field, which was about 7 years ago. So
prior to that, you thought what you was dealing with was normal, or just...
I felt like it was normal because of Christianity.
We gonna get
be humble, be submissive, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I would suffer, all of that. So I'm trying, right? And then when I used to jog through town and stuff, people didn't know it, but that was me literally conditioning myself mentally. I'm jogging, I'm power walking, I'm eating healthy, I'm meditating. Because I realized about 7 years ago, and I'm going to tell you, it really did take Catrice coming in my life to open my eyes up. And the reason I'll say that, for real, the reason I'm going to say that is because I really tried hard for a long time to be who God wanted me to be as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as a leader, all of that stuff. And it's like when I met her, something just clicked because I knew who I was as a teenager. That's why when I came out to my grandmother, she looked at me like, what are you telling me? I've been knowing this since she was 7, 8 years old. So with that being said, mentally I was already torturing myself because I wasn't living in my truth. I wasn't, even though that man that I met in 1998, I told him who I was. And I also told him, being that I'm in a holiness church, I can't live this life, but this is who I am, and my family won't accept me. But I still, I'm telling you, almost 20 years, I was, what people saw as who I was.
That's tough.
I'm serious. And I tried, and I prayed, and I fasted, but I'm trying to stay where we at.
No, come on, look,
but
just go into it.
Literally, mentally, I realized that, okay, you know what? All of this praying, fasting, laboring in a vineyard, in a church, you still depressed, you still have anxiety, you're still angry. It was literally that I was wearing a mask, and I've said it to people so many times that I was putting on this mask, just smiling happy, but I was hurting inside, my chest hurting, my head hurting, I'm feeling sluggish all the time. And then I finally said, you know what, you gotta live your life. It's more to this. And as I did more, the things I was teaching my clients, I'm like, I'm teaching them how to live well and how to be healthy. And I'm not. And then I was bringing those same tools home to my children, and I was being told, don't bring that counseling shit up in here. You a counselor at work, you're not a counselor at home. So how is it that I can help strangers who I don't know, but I can't help? Wow. So really that's when I realized that I was not mentally well in that marriage for all of those years. And I use it as an example because that was the biggest part of my life. We talking about from 19 to almost 40.
What year you graduated? I graduated in 97.
I graduated in 96.
So you're 2
But I
years
got
after
married
graduation.
in 99.
Good gracious.
And I was a mother and a wife, and I, everything I did in the church.
Yeah.
So that was my life, and what people saw was who I was.
We back at St. John, so that was what?
That was
way back.
almost 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how long we've been around each other. Yeah. So, I realized that this is not healthy. The way that I was feeling was not healthy. Okay. And the fact that, when I would get up and being that you said we can go right into it, the way that I would lay on the altar and, I was living right. I tell anybody that when I was in it, I was in it. Yeah. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah. No cussing, no drinking, no secular music. Literally, I had thought I had fought this homosexual demon in me. I thought I had overcome.
He was delivered and all.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I finally realized, but you're not happy.
You're what everybody else wants you to be. The perfect picture. Choir director.
Yes. And then I started doing my research on where Christianity came from. And I'm like, this is slavery. I'm still a slave to religion. I'm still a slave to Christianity, because how can a God that they say love me so much want me to be miserable? Want me to be abused? I was abused in every way possible. That's where I would say I realized my mental health was at stake. Bro, I would literally beat my head on the wall. Literally. I'm not just, some people just use it, as a figure of speech. No, I would literally take my head on Saturday nights because I felt like I was going crazy. I would get up in church and sing that song during testimony service. Could have lost my mind, but you stepped in just in time. Every time I would sing a song, it related to my life. But I still didn't have a breakthrough. I still after shouting and running and dancing and all of that, I still was ill, literally mentally ill. To the point I was going home drinking a bottle of liquor, just isolated in my room. I done directed the choir, I done danced, I done worship, but I go home on Sunday night and drink a bottle of liquor to just try to drink my pain away.
We're going to come back to it. Because I got a question about religion.
That was loaded, child.
No, we're going to get back to some more.
No,
we'll get back.
Nothing I didn't know, but something you said. Okay, can you repeat the question first?
Okay, what part did mental health play in relationships?
Okay, although I've never been married, I've had numerous significant relationships with, just considering friendships as well. Not many, without giving too much information, my intimate relationships that I did have, my mental health was never a factor for me. Okay. It was never what I considered important enough for me to take time and work on. It ultimately, really, it didn't matter as long as what I was doing looked good and I was treating everybody okay and I tried to, stay in the church and do what I'm supposed to do. That took priority because that in my mind, needed to be taken care of first, and I needed to find my place there in religion and God's purpose. Whatever came after that, then finding good. Long as I was doing okay with that and in the church and had a position, even if it was just an usher or helping with the youth, forget the mental health part. That doesn't matter. Right, that's just where I was, and that's where the part it played for years. I would say at least 10 years. While still dealing with all those things, to being depressed and having that dark cloud over my mind, I just knew it was what I would tell myself all the time. Okay, I'm still doing this. I'm still doing A, B, and C. So I'm doing God's work. So something's going to happen. Something's going to come together. It almost drove me to a mental breakdown when nothing did come together. As much work as I'm putting in, and it's like, all I want is a peace of mind. I don't want to be rich. I was fine. She will even tell you I was living check to check. And I was okay with that because...
And I told you that.
Hold on. Let me tell the story because we talked about it not too long ago. I mean, I was suffering financially, but I wasn't looking for riches. It was okay with me. She'll be working 2 or 3 jobs, Huh?
Okay.
She would be working like 2 or 3 jobs, and this when I was working at Jacksonville, I'm struggling. I'm struggling now. I've never been as I've always co-parented with my son's father very well. Okay. However, running a household on my own, I was a single woman. You know, it was just some responsibilities that I could not manage sometimes, so that led me to struggle a lot financially. And I would tell her, she would say, if I, need $10 or $15 gas just to hold me over, blah, blah. And we get into talking about her working 2 or 3 jobs. And I'm like, she out here driving herself crazy. I'm not meant to work 2 jobs. God is going to make a way.
She not broke though.
But I ain't broke. That didn't matter to me. I could quote a scripture to you, money. So what about the man who loses soul, gain the world, whatever?
Yes, you did that.
Okay.
You was losing both of them.
Okay. Didn't even know it. But at the same time, that was my mental health was taking hit after hit after hit. But at the time where I was in my life physically, and very religious, it didn't matter to me. My mental health and my mind and what I believed at the time was not important as long as I was doing what I was supposed to do. And not until later down the road when I'm telling you, I probably was very close to having a mental breakdown, because not only was I suffering financially, my mental health really started to, it was like, you can't deny it anymore. It's gonna force its way out. And I can very clearly see, that's why I take pride in where I work, the field that we work in now with adults. You can very clearly see how people can just go over the edge and lose their mind.
You start to understand how fragile the mind.
Yeah.
On the one end, the mind is very strong. But Just like
but if it's not healthy, if you're not taking care of your mental health, and people I think need to get more comfortable with talking about mental health, just like you talk about your physical health. When you talk about different ailments and different things like that, you have to put a lot into your physical health in order to maintain and keep going, keep your body moving and running. The same goes for your mental health, whether it's reading, meditation, walking, whatever. It's a lot of things that goes into it, but I had that on the back burner, and I think not until I felt like I started to come out, what the example I gave earlier when I was about 32, and realized that something is just not right here. Like, I've been going about it the wrong way. It's more out here. You can be happy. You're not meant, I'm going to just speak for me. These are some of the revelations that came to me. You're not meant to suffer your entire life. Why? What sense does that make? It doesn't make any sense. So those are some of the things in mental health. As far as it playing a role in my relationships, I would really say it didn't play a role, because I did not consider that a priority.
Okay.
Until now, now definitely.
I was going to say, this has occurred with she and I both. We're responsible for supporting people with their mental health and teaching them, how to live and transition back into an independent life. But it was times we'd be at work and she having crying spells. I'm having crying spells. We depressed. But
your job is to help them.
Right, and just clean it up, get right back out there.
Yes, at work.
Yeah,
because of what we're going through.
Yeah,
that's really eye opening.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna jump into it.
And let me mention this real quick. I know I left off
where
I was.
Go ahead. It's thing to talk about.
Where I didn't want to leave off as far as my mental health not being a factor in relationships and me neglecting to take care of it. Now I will say, once I did start to have that revelation, I remember there was a weekend. It was 2018, and that's when I really. I don't want to say it like an awakening or whatever, but when I really started to act on taking care of my mental health, it was one weekend I took, and I made up in my mind, I'm going to figure out, what's wrong. I'm going to take care of me. Believe it or not, 2018, it was a friend of mine who I've known for years, probably 15, 20 years. And even though I was okay with telling people no sometimes, I made up in my mind, I'm going to take this weekend, because I was going through a lot. Used to smoke a lot, probably a pack of cigarettes a day.
I thought you meant the good stuff.
Oh yeah, stuff. That too, but that's not in the past.
About to be legal.
But it plays a part in in my relationships now very significantly, because if my mental health is at risk in any relationship whatsoever, whether it's family, friends, at work, then you got to go. Because my mental health is priority now.
And I learned, I'm gonna touch on some of mine too as we talk. I learned that a lot in my last relationship. But we're not gonna talk about me just yet. Question. Is religion a form of mental illness, or does it contribute to poor mental health? And get into all of what point you got to where you had a spiritual awakening, or where you realize, listen, the way I've been doing it just doesn't work. It has to be something different. Go all into that.
I'm gonna tell you, because we talk about this a lot. Okay. And I really believe it is a form of mental illness. And it started when our ancestors first came over here. They were forced. They were forced to believe in Christianity, Jesus, our oppressor's God. We had our own gods over in Africa before they came over and literally made us accept theirs. Right. So, and then, you hear people say, and I'm sure this, holiness is the only way. So why is your way the only way? It just, when I sat down, it just didn't make sense to me. So yes, I believe it started as a mental health issue from the beginning, because it was forced on us. We didn't have a choice in the beginning. That's right. And it was passed down from generation to generation to generation, to the point that we do things as far as Christianity, and we don't even know why. We don't even take time to do the research. And all we know is grandma did it, so this is what I'm gonna do.
And we get upset when somebody tries to educate us, to tell them, like, listen, the way you're celebrating this is the real meaning.
Remember we started it?
Yeah.
Me and you.
People get upset with it, but it's like, this is stuff you can look up for yourself.
Yeah, and I think people.
I was like, bro, I don't do Christmas.
Probably still do, but
they want me to do the Christmas play at the church. I'm like, shit, I don't even believe in this no more. But I did it for the kids because I love it, and I still love it.
And you stuck there for the kids for a long time, even after you won't.
Yes, you did.
I'm telling you, I even went to the, and when people ask me, that I've had people ask me, did I leave the church?
Okay, no problem.
I'm sorry, babe.
Go ahead.
But because we talk about all of this, but people ask, that I leave the church because I was angry. I was like, hell no, I still love my pastor. I still call him my pastor.
Me too.
I went to her and was totally transparent. Look, Mom. Then that's why I call her Mom. Look, this is who I am. I even told her about my relationship with Patrice. Passed no judgment. I told her I would step down if she needed me to step down. No judgment whatsoever. That's between me and the Lord. Literally.
See, I know.
Even though I wasn't there, you say it's between me and the Lord, but I don't even believe. But it finally got to the point where even though I kept coming, my heart wasn't there anymore. I felt like, I even told her, I said, look, if I cannot reiterate to these young people what you're teaching them, because see, I'm not going to tell these young people that you're lying to them, because hey, they're young, they're not my children, but I let my children know, look, it's a better way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, but what you was talking about first, how I can't remember exactly what you all were saying, but it made me think that when you do start to recognize different things or tell the facts with different stories in the religion or in Christianity, I'll say, because that's where my faith was. Right. People get so defensive, and what I would like to think or have told people in conversation recently, because I'm not at that point yet where I'm okay with just, I'm on social media often, but I'm not there yet, because it will be soon, with just opening conversation to discuss where I am yet, because I'm not there mature. I haven't matured all the way yet to respond to ignorance, and that's what I'm
talk shit.
Pretty much, because I feel like you're the ignorant ones and not me. But I can't say that yet in love, and that's where I want to be first before I start to have that conversation and open it up. But I don't want anybody to think, and I'm sure you might can attest to what I'm saying. I don't want anybody to think just like we're thinking or believe everything. But if you can just actually think a little bit deeper than you are, then you might be able to see the truth as well in facts. facts, because like she said, I didn't leave church either because I hated the church or I hated my pastor, I hated somebody in there. Nothing. I still got love for them because they're good people as far as I'm concerned, and my relationship never suffered with them. But religion played a huge part. Christianity and my faith in the religion is what I suffered from, not the church and not the people in it, but it was just my faith in the wrong things at the time. And when I left, and I tried to find what I had to find, what worked for me, and it was nowhere near religion or Christianity based on facts, not what I just believe.
This is some shit, because we had these conversations almost every day.
That's beautiful.
But we were discussing how, and this goes back into the mental illness in religion. You're praying for peace. You're praying for unity within your family and the relationships with your family. You're praying for all of these things, and it never manifests, never. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, literally, bro, because for real, I never prayed for financial things. Never. When I did pray, I never, the home I lived in, the cars I drove, I never prayed for those things.
Wow. Okay.
But I did pray for peace of mind. I did pray for a healthy home. You know what I'm saying? And at that time, being that I was so deep, I did pray for my marriage. Glad I'm out of that shit now. But I'm just saying, at that time, that's what I was praying for. And it was hell. It was like nothing was manifesting. And then one day I literally sat back. I was sitting in my room and I was drinking. Mm-hmm. And I was still in the church. I think I left choir rehearsal. And I really was like, yo, you doing all this praying and all this fasting and you doing everything the pastor tells you, and I still thank her for that because that's what she knows.
Yeah,
that's her life still.
I never fault her for that.
Never ever. I love her to pieces for it because it was all in love. But I really sat back and I was like, damn, ain't none of this coming. So then I finally realized how bad it was affecting me mentally, bro, to the point I really felt like I was just ready to die. I couldn't take it no more. And then I realized, okay, your finances, they okay, but you want to make 6 figures. So how you want to make the 6 figures? You can't pray on it. God ain't going to just drop me on money. Because I used to see even with the tithing, who taking the tithes to Jesus? You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about, give God your first fruit. Well, when y'all take the money to him, I want to go to. You feel me?
Let me see who take it.
I'm just saying. But really, I was like, I'm keeping it a being with you.
Who make the deposit to
Jesus?
You
feel me? But really, bro, I'm saying people don't know what I was going through in that home because I still know some people talk about why would she leave that man be? Well, number 1, this woman treat me real good, okay? Number 2, this is who I am. And number 3, I'm happy and healthy. So, really, I was like, okay, so you need to get another job if you want to make these 6 figures. Now, I make that with 1 job. But at one time, it took me to make it with 3. And I was cool with that because everything that I wanted was manifesting, and I realized it was through me. I hold the power.
You're doing
just
the work.
Praying ain't doing nothing. You want to stop being depressed? Leave this nigga.
Ooh. It's simple as that.
And the power is within me because the prayer won't work.
And that was one of the things, her leaving and finding her happiness and not to be depressed. She had to literally, physically make a move to make that happen. Same thing with me financially. That was my biggest struggle, and that was my prayer. I mean, day in, year after year after year. So a couple years ago, I went back part-time to Jacksonville, right? I got my first couple of checks. I remember calling her, and I was like, I got ahead a little bit. I'm doing good. Haven't been doing this good in years financially. But you know what? It wasn't even that I had money in hundreds or thousands in the bank, able to go on vacation. It was just I was comfortable, and I was not struggling. Why the hell was that abnormal to me? It made no sense. So I started thinking, even then, this was in 2017, the year before, it all just flowed together. I started thinking, why didn't nobody tell me this years ago in the church? I'm struggling, but my main goal was, no, I got to get to church and I got to keep on paying my time
faithfully.
Because I paid them faithfully. Even if I had my life, I'm gonna tell you, listen, if I had my light bill that was due and $120, and I had $150 in the bank, my tithe was maybe $100. My tithe gonna be paid first.
She ain't lying.
I'm not lying.
And I've been talking shit to her.
But listen, and I would risk my lights getting cut off because I had to pay my tithes. And that's where that's where I felt like a lot of things started, as far as me transitioning out of the church. And I'm not just talking about physically, mentally it happened first. Yeah. I was out of there mentally. The last few times I went, and not just to the church that I was a member of, different churches because I moved away for a while back to Jersey. But I wasn't there mentally anymore. It was just an act because of what I was used to. It was just the physical, going through the motions, yes. But I remember telling her when I went back to Jacksonville, I'm like, dang, all I had to do was get another job.
That's it.
Simple as that.
Just that simple. But my goal was I had to make sure in my mind that I was praying. As long as I was praying that it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen. And the shit never happened.
Should have never.
Until I actually made a move and made it happen.
Yes.
And the same thing with her. You praying for a peace of mind year after year after year. And not until you actually made a move and made it happen, you didn't find that peace. And that's just where I'm at. I'm making shit happen.
Yes.
Like, it basically is my goal as far as mental health.
And that's what bothers me with, it's so taboo for black people not to be Christians. There's no way you're a Christian. Really? Why are you one? Explain to me why you are a Christian. Because really, she from Jersey, I'm from Philly, so we were talking last week about how we grew up, around the 5%ers.
Brothers, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we thought they were crazy,
Mm-hmm.
But now, that's who we're transitioning into. And we realize how healthy they were mentally, spiritually, physically, just holistically well. And it's like, why is it taboo for black people not to be Christians? Because that's not who our ancestors worship initially until it was forced upon them.
Especially if you're happy, you're healthy, you're progressing. I still can't even think of the scripture in the Bible that lets you know if somebody is out there, progressing, but they don't believe. Then you can't look at where they are. When it's like, yes, you can. If that's where they are, that's just the fact.
You can
staring you in the face.
Yeah.
But the whole thing with that is you got to be content with getting your reward when you die. But you put in all the work here. Or that certain things just started not to make not a bit of sense to me. And that was one of the things. Mm-hmm. I'm doing all the suffering here and I'm supposed to be okay with it to get a reward when I die.
Yeah.
Because apparently it ain't coming in this lifetime. Because I've lived through certain things. I prayed and prayed and prayed for the same thing. Mm-hmm. I can say if it was a different thing every year. But I'm just praying for a peace of mind for this depression to go away and for a financial breakthrough. And I could just go and get a job.
But see, we're indirectly taught. We're indirectly taught to have a poverty mindset.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Oh, yeah, and be comfortable with it. And that's okay.
The flip on it is they make us think that that mindset is actually the one that's making us progress. No, you've planted a seed of it's keeping us enslaved because, like you said, wait until I die to get my reward. Mm-hmm. When all you had to do was put in an application and get another. Or go back to the job you had.
Think about what that does to you mentally, even down to how we talking about you're never good enough.
You start to
your very thoughts. You can really, bro. That's how it's feeling.
Whatever you do get, you don't deserve it.
You're never good enough. But just my very thoughts, I can do everything right. Perfect example. Almost 20 years, never cheated on that man. Wow. What I'm saying is, and really. Anybody who know me in this town can attest to that. Including this has been my best friend for 15 years. Okay. Never. Faithful in the church. If I'm loyal to you, and you know that, if I got you, I got you.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, but I'm still not good enough because it was plenty of times I stood over the bed over the nigga like, I could kill you right now. But I might go to hell for thinking that even though I didn't do it, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything in my power, to maintain. But my very thoughts are going to send me to hell. And I finally realized, what kind of sense did that make? And
you can't even think your own thoughts.
Right.
You can't think
and it made me fearful of dying.
Yeah.
Where I can honestly say, I'm not scared to die now. Yeah. Because when I was a Christian, I was so afraid of, oh shit, did I think the wrong thing? If I die, I'm going to go to hell. But now, I'm really not afraid to die. Now, I want to live to be old like my grandmother. Yeah. But if I don't, I'm cool with it.
That fear of where I'm going to end up is not there.
Yes.
It's not a punishment.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because death shouldn't be a punishment.
Exactly.
But we're taught that it is if we don't follow the rules.
No matter how much good you do. And she and I, we are givers, even with our clients. Mm-hmm. And it just people lives here because it's not always about the monetary. But, we feed them spiritual. Mm-hmm. How to eat well, to for healing. And how to treat people, because I truly believe in karma. What you put out is what you give.
You spoke about the holistic part. So go ahead and get into what methods or whatever can you use or do you use and do you teach now that help people? Okay, because here's the thing. When I left religion, I was angry for a while because
stages.
I was mad because I felt like Oh, y'all lied to me.
All these years. Yeah, yes.
Why didn't nobody tell me this?
I've been there.
And then what do I do now?
Right.
If all of this is a lie, or at least most of it has been twisted around.
Yes.
What do I do now? And y'all can't be the ones to tell me.
We had this conversation just recently where I said, you know, what I believe now, one of the first things people will ask me when I say I don't do the church thing anymore, I'm not religious, I do not consider myself a Christian. Well, where did we come from? I do not know, and I don't care. I know we didn't fall from the sky.
Right.
I do not believe your story. You ain't got to believe mine. And just like when I was in religion and Christianity, I couldn't answer everything in that Bible because half the stuff when I look back now didn't make no sense.
And they didn't read all the scriptures out of it when they say go and kill the children and molest them.
Yeah,
you read the feel-good scriptures, the scriptures that make you feel
Old
good.
Testament,
so
God
don't
was
start
a
throwing these questions at me where we come from and well, why this or why that. If I start asking you questions based on Christianity, I guarantee you my story based on facts is going to make more sense than what you believe in.
Yes.
And it's no shade, it's no disrespect, but it is what it is. It's facts. So we was also talking about how you said when you left the church, you was angry. People get mistaken. Like if they hear us talk now, they're probably like, you know, all that crazy. But I went through stages. It was a lot of fear. It was a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
It was, I went through this stage for a couple of months. I mean, I cried. Yeah. It was like a revelation, like all these years, this was a lie that I was living full force. Like it will attest to whoever I talk to. Yeah. This is the way to go. But then when you realize that something ain't right there, it's like your whole life was a lie or that portion of your life. And it was at the time. I'm very content now with it. It can be very lonely. That stage in transitioning, and I went through all of that, but I'm so content with it now, and my goal is just to keep on progressing. I ain't gotta know everything. I know what I ain't though.
And look, on a holistic piece, because I got something that I went through personally. You know, I started taking antidepressants. This was about 6 years ago, maybe. I was taking antidepressants, and it was Thanksgiving. Karllette said I ruined Thanksgiving.
What that?
Keyanna coming in.
Okay.
I think the door locked.
But it was Thanksgiving, and Karllette said I ruined Thanksgiving because I was taking antidepressants because everything I was going through mentally, and I was drinking, and I slept through the whole Thanksgiving, and when I woke up, I was like a zombie. I was out of it. So that's why with the clients that I work with, I really don't promote medication. Now, do I support it? Being that it's a part of their treatment is within my job to support them with that. But do I promote it and teach it? No, I don't. Because I know that I am who I am today once I realize the strength that I have. Once I realize who I come from. And that's when I became well. Medication didn't make me well. It made me dependent.
One of the first things we would teach and we would talk about what always comes up. What always come up is that before you believe in anything as far as holistic healing, before you believe in any of the any of the factors, you got to believe in yourself. Right. Yeah, so that's I think would be one of the first things I would say if any that plays a part in holistic healing is your belief that you believe in yourself. Pretty much, because no matter what you try to incorporate, if you don't think there's anything there, any strength behind it, it's not gonna work.
But even that's a process because
it definitely is. Yeah,
walking away from religion and when I walked away, I actually left looking for the truth of it. I said, okay, they've taught me this wrong, so let me study it for myself.
The right way.
That way, I can know the scriptures the right way. So if I preach, Then as I started digging and cross-referencing and watching videos and different things, I said, oh, shit. And you see, before I started on the journey, I said, I'm going to accept the truth from where this path takes me, even if it goes against everything I was ever taught. And I just went into it like that. And week by week.
Crazy. That was my same prayers.
Yeah, more things was coming down.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Whatever
I'm
it is.
I'm going to know it when it happens, but I'm going to accept it, yes.
Yeah. So... what was I saying?
Sorry, that's good, right?
Once
when you walked away, you wanted to find the truth, and then
but I went through a period. But I went through a period where this is not the answer, and I'm looking for the answer. So it took a while before I realized I'm the. But it took a while before I realized that I could access the power, and it takes me moving to make things move, not just waiting around for the boogeyman.
And that's why it's so good to know where you come from. That's right, Sky Daddy. But that's why it's so good to know where we come from, our ancestors. Because real quick, what happened? Because I believe in reincarnation.
Okay.
And one is because my aunt in Philly, I never knew that she wasn't a Christian until a couple weeks ago. Wow. And we were talking about something. She's 70 years old. And we were talking about something. I was like, Auntie, I don't do that Jesus thing no more. She was like, who the fuck is Jesus? I don't do that shit. 70 years old.
It's rare to find somebody that old that doesn't.
Yeah. My grandmother, 85 years old. You know my grandmother. And you know the Moore family.
Yeah.
My grandmother, when I came out to her as being lesbian, she did not. Well, shit, I was waiting for you to come out finally.
Well, he always
I was trying to figure out how to And then, with my spirituality, when I let my grandmother know that, I don't believe in Jesus. I'm not a Christian. I'm spiritual. I believe in my own power within. She never said anything different. Not pray. So that's what she didn't say said enough. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like she was trying to tell me, well, baby, you really need to, think about that. You get what I'm saying?
At her age, her not saying something.
Yes, at 85 years old. My grandmother, for real, she the realest.
Yeah.
My grandmother has never prayed with me. She's never given me scriptures, even though she go to the church with all of our family. She support them. She take care of the Moore family. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I would not choose another grandmother if I could, because, like I said, what she did not say said enough, and she respects who I am as a woman holistically. So, I forgot where we were coming from with that. Because it's so good. But no, what I was saying is we gotta know where we come from.
Right.
Because I have an aunt. Remember I told y'all I hadn't seen her in 30 years.
Right.
I lived in Colorado. I hadn't seen her.
I knew that. Okay.
Yeah. I hadn't seen my auntie in 30 years, right? She was in Colorado. She came to Maryland, and she was almost 100 years old when she came to Maryland. But when I was living in Colorado with her,
y'all folks get old.
Yeah, my folks live to be old. Yeah. So anyway, when I lived in Colorado, now that I'm a woman, I didn't understand who she was back then. I was 8, 9 years old. So she came to Maryland, and it was like she just had to see us. So she came, she saw us, and this was about 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. And, she still smoked her weed. Almost 100 years old. She still smoked weed. I never heard her talk about Christianity, Jesus, prayer, none of that. In her house, though, was always incense burning and just good energy. And you know what I'm saying? And she taught me about the political system. She did teach me that, but she didn't teach me about Christianity. But long story short, I did not know that it's going to be the last time I saw her, because she died not long after. Wow. And I truly believe that it was meant for us to go to Maryland. She came all the way from Colorado so that we could make that transition. Because I was her baby.
Wow.
When I was a baby, she gave me massages, and I don't know what she was putting into my spirit then. But my life changed abundantly after that connection with her a few years ago. The way I think, the way I live, the way I move, everything changed. So I truly believe in reincarnation, whether it's through the birth of a child or through exchange of spirits before that person leaves this earth.
Oh, and on that
just
journey,
impartation.
Do you feel? I'm gonna get you over in just a second. Do you feel like that kind of confirms some things for you?
Hell yeah. Okay. Even, Patrice in the corner, she talking, but at home, I do be telling her, like, I never liked plants. Okay. Now I got plants all through my house. My aunt, who came to see me, she loved her plants. Okay. I smoke weed every day. Okay. And I got my card. But before I still smoke weed every day. But I grew up knowing that my auntie smoked. And you know what? That's how she kept herself well. You know what I'm saying? Mentally, just think about how you elevate mentally. When you feel me? My thoughts, like, literally are so peaceful and relaxing. And it even goes into my relationship. It ain't perfect, but it ain't far from it.
Smoke a blunt. Everything's but out there.
With her being in the mental health field as well, we know how to communicate. And even with me being who I am spiritually, she's, gradually transitioning on over, because it's something you can see. See, with the Bible, it's redundant over and over and over and over. It's like, damn, you sit there and you finally be like, shit, I know what they getting ready to say. You can listen to a song you ain't never heard before, and you know what the words.
And you know how it's going to go.
Yeah. Even sermons, you know what you wrote when they said Ed was preaching. preaching. Oh shit, I didn't care if I had 3 hours of sleep. I was coming to support my brother because he was on fire. But you said it, Tonya. Remember we talking about how I was in church, how I was all in there, and you said it too, Key. When I'm in it, I'm in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm passionate. So I was passionate about Christianity, but now that I'm spiritual, I'm passionate about that too.
And what people need to understand, though, because I'm sure you can attest to this, it's not that when you say you were passionate in Christianity, it's just like this hopping around type of thing with your lifestyle, and you just believe in whatever goes, wherever way the wind blows. It's not like that. You transition based on facts. It's not like it's a fad or anything like that. People make that mistake too.
And when you're free, you have the freedom to go back and forth between thoughts. If you're undecided, you don't have to force yourself to stand on one point. Like today I might feel this way, tomorrow I might feel this way, and it's okay if I'm not sure.
When you say that, people don't understand. It's so much going on in just one brain. Everybody has that one brain. But if you're forced to think a certain way, that means why do we have this then?
You're reducing your power.
What is the purpose?
It's slavery
all
still.
All the thoughts that
with
we
the
have,
government. We're the first place they go to get support or to control the masses of black people. The church.
And it's so easy to build one. It's so easy to build one.
Because they know
become a minister,
that it's literally manipulation.
And you gotta jump through all types of loopholes.
That's why so
it's
many
a reason
churches
for that.
just in Greensville County. So many churches.
Everywhere.
I want to
get over here and keep my
let me see if we can all fit. I might have to switch somebody out.
We can.
Okay, if you come right
we don't
here.
mind being close to each other.
Okay.
We see each other every day.
It's pretty short.
And you can introduce yourself and tell what your job title is, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi.
Then we gonna tell you how we all came connected.
Okay, that'll work. Okay.
I'm Keyanna. I'm a mental health case manager. I've been in the field for about 8 years.
She the baby of the bunch.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll tell you how that works out though, because not to toot my own horn, I love y'all. I feel like I bring the innovation to the job. You know, new ways to use things.
Okay.
Yeah, that, you know. But y'all, you know, I feel like, and these women keep me grounded. Like,
so you're a little
real.
younger. She's a little younger than you.
I'm almost old enough to be her mother.
Yeah.
Oh, stop. But I tell you the advantage to that though, because you know people be like, oh, your friends are a little older than you or whatever, but I feel like it's the secret to success.
You too. Yeah, that's yours.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were asking.
I feel like having seasoned friends is the secret to success. Like, it could kill a whole lot of drama because you got people who are surrounded. You're surrounded by people who are experienced.
So it's one of those things where they say it's best to not always be the smartest person in the room.
Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely,
definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I feel like knowing these women is brought out the most authentic version of myself.
Oh,
and you know what? Even at 29, that's beautiful because so many young women either are not around or choose not to be around people that can affect them positively.
Oh yeah,
because they're out here, y'all.
Exactly.
But they choose not to because that ain't lit or whatever. You can still live your life,
absolutely,
but be wise. Get some of that wisdom along the way.
Yes,
you will save yourself a whole lot of heartache and pain.
So how did y'all connect?
Well, of course, Tonya and I, we started at Jacksonville.
When you finished with your introduction, I wasn't trying to cut you off.
Yes.
You can get some more talking in. Go ahead.
We became friends, of course, 15 years ago. And one thing about Tonya and I, we always put each other on. When we was at Jacksonville, she became a crisis intervention instructor. And she put me on.
Okay.
Then she became CPR instructor, put me on.
Right.
So then when I started my job in Richmond, was you in Jersey yet?
No, when you started in Richmond, I was in Richmond, but I was working for the state still.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, got this job. It's cool. Make some good money.
Okay.
She came on there with me.
Yeah.
Then Keyanna came. Did you interview Keyanna with me?
Yes.
We interviewed Keyanna, and it was like the energy in the room. You know what I'm saying? And we hired her, and we just all became. We took her on as our little sister friend. But we were going back to mental wellness, mental health. We had a boss.
Oh wait, before you go there, that needs to be said. Well, as far as she's saying how I put her on, she let me know about the job. people need to understand it doesn't always have to be, I never felt obligated as her friend.
Okay.
But because we were very close, we shared a lot of the same goals, ambition. I knew she was going to do something with what I put her on with.
Okay.
So, I mean, I had other friends at the time, but I'm not going to set myself up.
Right.
It made me look bad. You have to,
Yes,
I got to know that you want it. And
yes.
at that point, too, now looking back, it's not like I felt obligated. And that's a part of your mental health, too. Just because you have somebody who's a friend does not mean you obligated in no way, shape, or form to do anything for that person. She had to earn it just like I did. She had to interview, go for the training, but I still brought it to her. It was still her opportunity to take advantage of. So we did it because we had the same ambition, same goals, and the same thing with her when she told me about this current job now.
And that's beautiful because your name matters, and you, like you said, you couldn't just keep putting your name out there.
That's right.
And after a while, the people you're putting on don't look bad. You look
right.
bad.
That's
Exactly.
So it's good that you knew you could trust her with that.
Well,
You know?
and don't we say that because what we going to tell you is it was a matter of trust between us. Because we had only known you for almost 2 years maybe.
Okay.
So we in a mental health field. We're qualified mental health professionals, counseling clients. But our program manager was literally beating us down mentally. To the point we would call each other on our way to work. Yo, you good? We
would have to meet twice a week. I started to realize, probably a couple of years in now, I started to realize, why I always get these knots in my stomach every Thursday morning. And then we
on the way to work in a mental health field.
No lie. We would be calling each other, and the first person to get there would call everybody else, like, and let them know how the tone was, how to, what was going on, to make sure, all right, it's all right, y'all come up there now, or be prepared for this. And it was
bad.
A mess, a hot ass mess.
Yeah, we had a boss that would text us and harass us. Call us and harass us.
So the boss was mentally unwell.
Very much so.
Very,
the worst I done seen in my life.
Much so.
And that's not
while giving us Joyce Meyer books for birthdays and shit. That's what she made me.
That's sick.
Christian stuff.
Yeah, it's very
and
sick.
listen to her Christian music.
No exaggeration.
But you're
literally
beating us down mentally to the point that we couldn't take it no more. We all look for other jobs.
But you know what? That's another cover that religion gives people. You can be mentally unwell and totally mistreat people, but because I told Jesus I was sorry.
Yeah.
And I'm a work in progress.
Jesus forgave me for that.
Yeah.
So you got to
that
forgive
wasn't
me
nothing but the devil.
Yeah, they never take the blame.
Yes,
Never.
it's no
Never.
accountability.
Never.
Those were your actions that you fought through before you did them. So no.
It's a cover because you can say I'm a work in progress. God forgive me, so you gotta forgive, and that's that whole thing too. You gotta forgive, and even if you don't understand none of it, one of the main rules is you don't question nothing now. Don't question
it at all.
Which the crazy part is, the people that say, "Oh, you ain't supposed to question God," why is there so many scriptures in there saying to ask? Asking it shall be given.
Well, I was asking a lot.
Like. But on Keyanna, because I want to ask you a couple of questions. At what point, you getting into the mental health field, was that a conscious decision or was that just a job? And as you began to get into the field, where did you recognize the need to address your own mental health?
To be honest, initially I got into mental health because it was least math. I'll be honest.
Real people.
It was the least math. That was my worst subject. Okay. And I knew I wanted to go to college, but I knew that was one of my hurdles, math.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to choose psychology. I mean, shit, I want to know why the hell people do what the hell they do anyway.
Right.
And I was so intrigued by the scientific version of it, to the religious aspect of it. And I kind of compared the two, and it was like, it kind of looked like Bible scriptures in terms of how they're trying to treat people with mental illness.
Okay.
So I ended up actually going to a Christian school for my master's degree, and all I wrote about was like the contradiction of the Bible.
Oh shit. Okay.
To kind of be rebellious in a way.
But at this point, were you still acknowledging or considering yourself to be a Christian, or?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, keep going.
But I think I only did it because I was kind of molded to be a Christian, because when you born you don't really have a choice. It's like you come out Baptist, non-denominational or whatever.
You're born free, you get told you're a Christian.
Yes.
We're born free.
Yes.
Because if you were born in Afghanistan, you would be Muslim or whatever.
Right,
That's right.
Exactly. So it was kind of just something and my grandmother will always say, try to get into a Christian school. You need to learn more about the Bible, because they knew education and the Bible kind of, merge together.
Right.
But I eventually, after I got out, I was like, that was literally like a crock of shit.
Listen, y'all probably was turning up there too. Y'all was partying there too.
It was all online. Online. But just, you basically teaching yourself. But when you're reading through this, you're like, I have to compare my secular life to their religious views and kind of make it all make sense, but it doesn't make sense to me. So it was hell. But I ended up in the field mainly because as I grew older, I started noticing certain behaviors in myself, how I reacted to things, my own issues with my family and how I felt they supported me or didn't support me moving to Virginia. Because I'm from Jersey, so it's like I had no family down here, and I just basically created a life for myself.
What made you come here?
Virginia State.
Virginia State University.
Okay, my daughter graduated from there. Okay.
Yeah, so it was like, it was just on and popping from there.
Okay. Another question, because they've already answered a little bit of this, and the conversation going to all come back together. At what point did you realize that it was trauma, or was there trauma from your past that contributed to that? And then at what point did you separate yourself from religion? Or are you still a Christian?
Oh no, I'm not a Christian. Oh
no.
And it's still the talk of the town.
Listen.
My family got used to it. Karllette crazy as hell, y'all.
Mine used to me now, but
yeah, and I'm kind of like, not to quote Malcolm X, but it's like everything that somebody comes to me with in terms of you need to pray about it or whatever else, it goes left. Yeah. And they've accepted it and they'll just kill the conversation.
They don't even bother with it now.
Yeah, but I felt everything turn, I would say within like 3 years ago, and I really give big ups to these ladies because they are so strong vocally. They can put things into words that I might not be able to, but I resonate with that feeling though. And I remember going to church wondering, why the hell am I here? It's like, I don't get this. I don't understand. Why do we have to give 10% of our income if majority of us in here are struggling? Why is there churches and liquor stores but no job building skills and no ways to really accrue wealth within our community?
Yo, the church should be the hub for everything, because you have everybody there that you need, from teachers, the mechanics, the people, financiers. Why you not? Now, and some people will dispute when I say this, because some of the mega churches have this, but why are you not having credit classes and even
we
mechanics
talked
teaching
about
the little
that
boys stuff and
not
the
too
little
long
girls?
ago. It's enough churches in just about every major city and then some, that where you can have like 3 churches come together and you'll have more than enough to have a daycare for somebody who's struggling to pay for their daycare, everything that you need, a school, all of that.
I ask people, and it may or may not be a good analogy, but I asked them, I was like, when you go to a city, how many courthouses do you see? It's usually one. How many municipalities, municipal buildings or whatever? It's usually one. Even within certain religions, in a fairly, not a huge city, but a decent sized city, how many kingdom halls do you see? A lot of times it's one. How many mosques? Depending on the size of the city, a lot of times it's one. How come in a town this small you have over 100-some churches? If it's one religion, one God,
one Bible that believe all in the same thing,
why is so many of y'all?
So many.
And then why y'all can't come together? If y'all taking this percentage of people's money, why did the Boys and Girls Club ever close here? Or why there ain't more activities, And that applies to any city.
Right.
That applies to any city.
Because it's in every city.
But go ahead, you will.
No, I'm done.
Oh, you done. Okay. Did you answer the part about at what point did you recognize that it was trauma or you know?
I think I recognized it was trauma like maybe 6 years ago. I would have like anxiety attacks. It would just be small situations that for me mentally were like catastrophic. And at this time, I wasn't heavily smoking marijuana. I wasn't smoking marijuana. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Don't do me like that. But once I incorporated in my regimen, it was like, you know how some people be paranoid.
Thought process, right?
Everything just changed.
Word becomes beautiful again.
Yes. Oh, man does it. Yes.
It's the cheapest vacation you
will take. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
I like that. I never even thought about that.
And I think I also started just gaining more resilience towards bullshit. Like, at first, I would just be like an emotional punching bag for whoever. Like, tell me all your problems. I might can solve them or not. You know? But I'm going to tell you whatever you need to hear, you know, to make you feel better. But emotionally, I had about 15 pounds of emotional weight on me.
Yeah.
And you know, when you start to question things in religion, when I was anyway, you start to question things or you realize something is not right and it starts to affect you mentally and it causes you, and you very clearly realize that you are suffering and your life is clearly at stake, your mental health is at stake, then you justify it because number one, you may not be happy in this life. You're not supposed to be, and that's okay. That's what we're taught. And then also, if you're struggling, then that's okay too, because long suffering, you need that in order to get by. It's like when I think back now on some of the things that I let slide. For when we talked about this too, like you ever think back of some stuff you let slide in the name of the Lord, and you wish you like really, and let you know, like she said, an emotional punching bag. Rumors you can't check because when somebody's spreading rumors and things about you, can't check it because the Lord's gonna get your revenge. Like no, I'll check somebody real quick now because you're not gonna treat me any kind of way.
I used to try to make some people fight me once I left religion because I was
like,
y'all ain't gonna do nothing. So I would say the craziest stuff. Like what you gonna
I want to check.
What you gonna do? And they would never do nothing.
That's how I felt, bro. But you know, talking about the part as far as turning the other cheek and humble, submissive, all that, you know, it was a situation that occurred. And they know all of this because we talk like that. But I was abused in every way you could imagine. Every way you could imagine, I was abused. And once I had gotten myself where I needed to be mentally, and I had gotten through all that depression and anxiety, and got my paper up so I could move on, and you know, I was physically abused every week to the point I kept saying, these boys gonna beat your ass one day. You keep on. And I'll never forget, you know, because I feel like, you know, I'm praying, I'm fasting, and I would never fight back. I would literally just sit there and take it because and you know I'm a fighter. But
you can fight.
Right. But it was like, you know, I would sit there and take it, and then one day I had enough of that shit, bro. And I hauled off and popped that nigga in his eye, blacked his eye. He was walking around with shades, and I know my kids probably gonna see this, so you know I ain't lying. They was so happy. They was like, Mom, you won back. You blacked his eye. But what I'm saying is, it took me knowing the power that I had. Because I was sitting there laying there taking it because I felt like God is going to fix it.
You had to do it.
God is going to save him. God is going to change him. Just keep fasting. Keep going to church. And he kept beating my ass all those years. And then one day I finally fought back.
But you know what? As she said, just to piggyback on that, as excited as the kids got when she finally did something to, you know, to change the circumstance, just imagine how they felt on the flip side when she would not do something. You couldn't see it. Right. And they probably didn't verbalize it. So that's when that stuff started to get passed on. If she hadn't changed it, it's no telling where they would be now.
And I think with religion, it doesn't promote self-care. It's like Jesus is first. Whether you know you having an abusive relationship or you not taking care of yourself mentally, just keep paying your tithes and you gonna go to heaven.
And that's your reward.
And that's
nothing
your
else
reward.
On earth.
But while you're on earth, you're still suffering. You're still doubting yourself. You still think you can't make shit shake without the Sky Daddy. And you can.
Right. And even life and death, you know, I use us as women you know, and men as well, because it take men, a man and a woman to create life.
Right.
But you know, when they give this sky daddy all his power, but at the end of the day, you know, without a man and a woman, you cannot create a child. So who gives life? We give life. And you know what else? We can take it away. My son is a perfect example.
Yeah.
We got the power to take a life. We got the power to give a life. And if God knew who we were going to be when we were in the womb developing, so why did you create all these child molesters and rapists and murderers? And if
or
you
let
just
people go through what
Yes.
they've gone
and then
through.
they say, wait a minute, free will. But I didn't it wasn't my free will to be a victim. I didn't want to be molested
I
as a
didn't
child.
choose that, right.
I didn't want to be beat on. You feel what I'm
I
saying?
knew how terrible and sick that mentality was when I saw a post on Facebook and a girl, don't know her, it was just something that was being shared. Shared her story of being molested and why did this happen to me. And I knew how deep these thoughts in the religion can be, and it's a significant amount of brainwashing that occurs too.
Yeah.
Because there was a comment from a lady, and of course you know how we do when something don't look right. I go into her page and look, and it's like, oh, she old lady, look like she's in Baptist, she's been there for 70 years. But she could comment and say, you never know what got, the girl's post was about being molested for so many years with a family member. And the lady posted and responds in the comments, you never know what God has you go through for a reason. And so she went into all her details anyway, but it was just like, to me, how can you tell somebody who has been molested it's all part of God's plan for your life? You could have kept me where I was. I didn't have to come into this
The
world.
sad
If
part
that's part of
is,
the plan.
because of how we're taught, they think they're absolutely right.
Oh,
for
yeah,
saying it.
definitely.
And the majority of the clients that we deal with, from the juveniles we dealt with, because you work with juveniles prior to coming to us, right? So we've all worked with juveniles. And when we read their intake packets, it all started with trauma, molestation, drug addiction, abuse. Neglect. And it's like they didn't have a choice. Right. But that person had free will to victimize them. Yep. It doesn't make sense. And that's when I finally evolved into the woman that I am, that I have power to change other people's lives without feeding them a lie. Do you know, when I was in the church, so many people would call me for prayer. And when shit changes, some of the people still going through the same shit they was going through 15 years ago.
Here's the beauty of it. I love the fact that, okay, because when I first left, I ain't had much. I ain't had nothing. I still don't have a lot now, but I'm in a better position.
Most definitely.
Me too.
But just to be able to, maybe I'm petty for this, but to be able to show them that, see, I made it without them.
No, that's real though, because that's facts. That's facts. If you had asked me that when I was in the church, I honestly could not give you anything tangible that you can see to prove that this is what's working. But now, if you ask me, I can go down the whole list. I did not suffer as I suffered, how I said it started at 14, 15 to age 32 when I realized something wasn't right. I have not suffered in years since, I would say, I fully transitioned 2018, towards the end of 2018, out of the church, mentally, physically, all of that. So I have not suffered in these last 2 to 3 years as much as I suffered. I can take maybe 1 year or these 3 years compared to 3 years back in the day. I can give you a list of things. My mental health is 100% better than it has been in my entire life. Financial well-being. I mean, holistic. I done got into all types of different, just your overall well-being. And
taking it back to our ancestors, what they used to do.
Exactly. And it wasn't nothing that is promoted here now. A lot of it.
A lot of our ancestors prayed. Go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
I start to think, why wasn't that promoted, your overall well-being, your health overall, when it was just so many questions. And again, I gotta say again, how we, compare to things that was taught in the church and our lifestyle. And it's not like a lot of bashing. And again, not trying to get people to think how I think, but if you actually just think.
Yes.
Period.
I tell people,
I realize
I don't care what you think. Just think.
Just
think it through. Think it through.
And I was saying, I let people know I don't hate Jesus. I don't hate Christianity, because I don't believe it's real anyway. I hate the ignorance. The fact that you won't think for yourself.
The fact
that's
that
what bothers
you can't
me.
be a good person without being a Christian.
Yes.
If you don't believe in Jesus, you believe in the devil. That's not true.
And if you are a good person, can nobody thank you and appreciate you for being a good person? Because it's not my effort. You ain't got to put in no effort to be a good person. Everything got to be like, to God be the glory. It ain't me. It is
job, they graduate college, this and that, and they won't even take no credit.
I
won't even take none of the credit. Yes, the fuck you can.
Yes.
Why
With my
can't
kids,
you?
bro.
Why
CJ
can't
being
you?
in prison. You know, CJ, he got about 7-8 more years in prison. And I make sure my son is well taken care of while in it because I don't ever want him to become nobody's bitch because he ain't got no money on his books and nothing like that. Mm-hmm. So me and my family, all of us, we make sure he's good. So what I'm saying that to say is, you know, my kids, you know how deep they were in the church with me. When I would say they were there, so they've evolved with me as well.
Yeah, that's dope.
They have evolved because you know what? Just like I push Jesus on them, I'm pushing spirituality. I'm letting them know who they are. You have power.
See, I'm not in a position to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I got you, babe. But through the remember, you know who I am in their life because they don't have their relationship with their father.
Yeah,
and they've watched me evolve. They watched me go through the depression. They watched me be abused, and now I'm no longer depressed.
And if you're happy now, it must be something to that.
Yes. Definitely, and they see that. They see
And CJ was talking about, you know, this was in the beginning stages because, you know, they had to transition and evolve as well. They was in church from babies.
Oh, yeah.
And he was saying, you know, Mom, well, you know, I'm going to pray on it. I said, well, I'm going to tell you right now, that's empty. I said, because at the end of the day, no, really, I told him this, bro, and I told him this like a year ago. I said, tell me one thing you prayed for that you got.
Woo.
One thing. You ain't got to give me a list. Tell me one thing you prayed for that you got, CJ. And he was like, nothing. I said, now tell me one thing you asked me for that I didn't deliver on.
That's powerful.
So I got the power.
That's powerful.
As your mother, I am your peace. I make sure you are financially well. I take care of your baby like she mine. Anything you pray for, did you get it? And even with me, bro, everything I prayed for, I never got it. And all I wanted was peace of mind. And I had to take that power.
I can give you some examples of some of the things that I got after I prayed for, but looking back, we talked about this too. Mm-hmm. It was not without me actually doing something.
Faith without works is dead. That's the trickery. Yeah. They tell you to have faith, but you gotta work too.
So which one is it?
If you need faith of a mustard seed,
but then they'll tell you you can't obtain it by works.
You see where it's a mind
It's
fuck.
crazy.
It really is. It's
So one end I gotta work, and on the other end I can't get it by work. So like,
but you know what? We laugh and everything, but when I think back on it often because I struggled so much with my mental health and financially. Keep on saying that.
So we good that we just sit at work like, let's take a trip.
That's dope.
Exactly. But you know, although we laugh in different things, I can't.
It'd be so good, right?
It's real. It's a real aspect and sensitive subject sometimes for me because I look back on all the time wasted, all the empty prayers when it's not necessarily a bad thing to think. Again, if we have all these nerves and all these things going on up here in our brain, but we're taught not to use it, and then we also talked about before, if something does happen or you're praying for something and it doesn't come through, you start to, after a while, internalize that. And I know I did after a while, and it's like, all right, well, what is it, guys? Something I ain't doing right. I'm paying my tithes again. I gave away all my worldly CDs. I would not listen to nothing on the radio if it won't gospel. I was told if it won't gospel, I'm praising the Lord, then it is a wrong. I would avoid going down the aisle in the store that sold beer because I used to drink and I didn't want to be tempted.
But that
you might as well drink then.
Right? Because your very thought.
But that was me putting in my work. I'm gonna get there one day. But it was a whole struggle. And we laugh about it now, but I'm like, this is so messed up. It's lot
like
of foolishness going on.
It's a gang, you know, because they love you when you get initiated. Everybody coming to you with open arms during the initiation. But let a couple years go by, you ain't shit. They talking about you. They don't care that you depressed. You know, one time when I was transitioning out, I would only come to direct the choir. I don't know if you remember that. I would only come third Sunday. And I told my mom, I said, damn, ain't nobody checked on me. I could be a crack whore right now. As long as I deliver on third Sunday. Nobody's checking on me the rest of the month. But in the beginning, everybody was checking on me.
I know. Look.
You feel me? So it's like, I've said more than I usually say, but at the end of the day, I just tell people, take ownership of your power. Take ownership of who you come from, because I know I come from some strong ancestors, down to my grandmother who's still living. She makes shit happen, and even the women I surround myself with. You know, you got to surround yourself with powerful people as well, because really, we were in the office talking how when I'm down, they bring me up. build me up. You know what I'm saying?
Vice
It ain't through no
versa.
prayers and no scriptures. They just being real raw and uncut with me. And the same thing goes for all of
And
us.
you still go through some of the same things, but we talked about this as well. If she said when she's down and will help. The difference, I would say, I don't have every day just rainbows, sunshine. However, a big difference, a huge difference for me is when I was given a lot of credit and looking for power other than myself to help me get through. It was a struggle after struggle because when one thing didn't work, okay, look somewhere else or pray this specific prayer or I forgot to mention this in the prayer, so maybe that was it. That's why it's not working now. But
Oh my God!
And I didn't fast.
Why I gotta be hungry?
I lost so much weight one year. I said,
I
was
did
small.
too. I did about 40-something pounds. I did too.
Yeah.
But when you realize that one thing didn't work, really, like you pray another prayer and then you start to internalize a lot of that stuff like it's something wrong with you. And I think that happened to me for years. I was like, something ain't right, or maybe it's something that somebody else did that now I gotta pay for. So that's why you internalize a lot. And now I just don't no more. I know where my power lies.
I remember when I was in college getting my bachelor's. That was probably like the toughest time for me emotionally because I just was going through shit with my father, my mother, all type shit. I used to ask God, like, why would he give me parents, you know, that have me going through all this hoopla?
Why you?
Yeah. But it took me in my own volition to get to know my parents. Okay. Aside from them being my parents.
As people.
And forgiveness, of course, but not for them, but for myself, because it's like I gotta move past this shit in order to emotionally succeed in life. Everybody try to act like you gotta be hardcore, but in reality, it's important to get in tune with your emotions, aside from a belief system. Yes. You know, because you never really know your true emotions if you're being told what to feel.
Yes.
Or you deny yourself of feeling certain feelings.
And
because they're not right. They're not pure.
You forced to feel sad because of the fucking music they playing in that bitch.
You gotta create yourself to be this person that looks and moves right.
I'm a drummer. I still call myself a drummer.
Most definitely. You the best.
Well, thank you. But I absolutely, how much of this am I going to say? I absolutely knew what I was doing when I was playing. Like, you can control the
temperament.
You hit that joint 3 times. I run around that church 3 times. I'm just saying. You knew what he did.
But music is a manipulation of emotions.
I get the same feeling at the go-go now. As soon as they hit them combos. It's because it's energy. It's energy. So if you in a church and you feel that energy, you won't flow with it. You know what I'm saying?
But it doesn't just stop there.
It doesn't.
But you would talk. I'm sorry.
No, y'all good.
Question. How does the mental health affect you, like in relationships? Are you in a relationship?
Not anymore.
Okay, all right.
She's single.
Does that come into play, or how does that affect, or has it affected relationships over time?
Yeah, it's affected.
You crazy.
I'm a witch, you know, and I don't even do no type of witchcraft type stuff, but I'm more vocal in how I feel and what I believe in. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're not in sync with what they believe in, you're gonna be crazy or I've been a witch already.
So it's definitely, and you know, as you grow and evolve, that makes certain people uncomfortable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
I love it.
At the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, either you or me, I'ma always choose me. I'ma always choose me.
And people gotta realize that's okay.
It's okay. Exactly.
And I struggled so long with coming to that term, like I have to choose everybody else before me because I want people to like me. I want to be accepted, whatever. But I found so much peace in my lonesome. Man,
yes,
nothing like it.
Exactly. Sometimes I'd rather be alone. And I'll take a couple DAs. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what? Okay.
What's a DA?
Never mind.
Let's continue.
That's what you talking about. That's what it is.
Guys, sorry. All right. I'm Kevin P. It's after hours now. They picked it apart.
out there.
Right? And y'all bit the bait.
But I'm saying that to say,
man.
once again, self-care is so important because I know what it looks like when I don't care for myself. And I never, ever want to go back there.
Again, yeah.
I know what it feels like to be in a stagnant relationship along with a egotistical ass, crazy ass bitch boss. Not this one.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And to lose family members back to back, you know, and just be in a dark space. I never want to go back there. Now when I experience hardship emotionally, whatever, not financially.
That's
right. When I experience certain things, I know how to bounce back. I got healthy coping skills, and I know the power is within me.
And that makes it easier to say, I will not allow this to happen again, that to happen again, because I'm in control. If something does happen outside my control, I know how I'm going to respond to it, and it don't take no prayer for me waiting on the answer. I know how to make something happen.
That's
I
right.
got to be that bitch even more effective. Exactly.
Sometimes when people call me with certain issues, and I try not to come across as irritated, but even with my friends, I try to convey to them, this thing that has you so frustrated, it's as simple as making a decision.
So simple.
When people have you all bent out of shape, stop fucking with them.
That's it.
Simple as that. Like, if they're not,
that's right.
Like people you have to deal with or connected to you in a certain way, and you're not obligated to deal with them, stop. Because otherwise, you're torturing yourself.
Yes.
Because you keep going back to this person, whether it's for their approval or whatever the reason might be. Stop fucking with them.
That's why I said when I said earlier,
Free yourself.
I'm not all the way
there yet.
I'm not all the way there yet where I can say that when I said earlier with as far as my response to what I feel like is ignorant when you keep on doing the same shit, complaining about it. When I see these posts sometimes and friends ain't this, or you may be careful you call your friends. What type of friends y'all got that you got to keep posting about the same shit?
Exactly.
Is it you, or are you just keeping yourself surrounded with some ignorant ass people and allowing yourself to be mistreated? Like, I just can't. Some of it is just common sense, and it's just as simple as doing something different.
Yes.
It's very simple. Go ahead.
And I was saying the three of us, you know, and it goes back to what we're here for, the mental wellness. How we take care of our homes, not only just ourselves, but you got to make your home your sanctuary.
Talk about that.
You got to make your home your sanctuary, because at one point in time, I had a cousin. When I lived over here in Emporia, she always said, "Oh, your house was always so cozy and it smelled like baked cookies and shit like that." And I'm like, it was hell up in that motherfucker. But I just say, you know, now though, you know, when you walk into our home now, you can feel the good energy, and you know, it's all about how the smells. We want to smell sage and mint and, you know, lavender, you know, things that help make you feel good mentally. Right. And even with the energy that comes in our home, you know, even down to my own children, bro.
They can't just come in any kind of way.
They can't just come in any kind of way. Okay. And when look at her face.
That's real.
But really, when they start, you know, their energy is not aligning with the good energy in our home, I'm telling you, she my witness. I done told one of them, yo, get the fuck out with that. Literally, get the fuck out, and when you got your shit together, then come back in here. But you ain't messing up the energy in my house.
So they all wrong. But you know what?
And you gotta be self-aware like that.
But you can do that.
You can get to a point also to where you ain't even gotta make it known that I need you to leave because of your energy. When I always have tried to make my house as cozy as possible for me, but now it's with so much more intention. Like if I know I'm having company, and you know, you can think you know somebody, but you don't know like what they got going on up here, and a lot of stuff transfers through energy. Yeah. And when we talk about energy again, people get confused, you know, because we're using the word energy. But just like somebody walk into a room, it can change the whole vibe and it get real tense. That's energy. And just like it's negative, it can be positive. And I say that because I recently got I think my son bought it for me for Christmas, an air diffuser. So the things I got to go in it, one is clove, and that's known to diffuse, you know, eliminate the room with, or at least bring it to the forefront, any negative energy, or to help you to decipher the different types of energy. Okay. So I had somebody to come and visit my house when I did that, and I posted when I saged and all of that stuff too. And this person, every time they visited me, they sat down, got comfortable, this, that, and the other. But I was on my way, like, transitioning, trying to sever this relationship because it just was not of any benefit to me at all. This person, after I did that, spent the whole weekend redecorated, put my ancestors on the wall, all of that. Everything was with intention. This person came in there after I did that for the first time, would not sit down, looked so uncomfortable, and in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, it's working.
So
and
just
when
by
they
you
left,
shifting,
I was just like, okay, goodbye, haven't seen them since.
by you shifting your energy.
Exactly, yeah.
With
Intention, pure intentions, you know, not no type of voodoo, and then that's the one that called me a witch too, but I don't really care.
The self-care. It's self-care.
Yeah, I'll be a witch all day.
Damn magic work. Bye.
Yeah. Poof.
Do you still get angry with the people that try to... Okay, do some people only still see you as what you were and still try to speak to you as that?
Surprisingly,
Because some people, I'm always gonna be bright.
Surprisingly, I have only a handful of family members and people I consider very close to me and that I actually care about their opinion. Anybody else, I really don't care.
Yeah.
So it was a certain number of people. I want to say about 6 that I had on my list, and I was coming to them with work like, oh, how am I had this conversation? It was like coming out of the closet, like with my family when I had to say I don't believe this no more. Like I had to keep coming to them like I ain't do it yet. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But when I finally did,
I want everybody to say that. I want everybody to go through who they had to.
Yeah, when I finally did, when I did my 2 sisters first, and then another family member who we're really, really close with, I made it a lot harder than it had to be. I was in tears when I first started talking about it. I was like, I just want to tell y'all because I'm getting ready to start doing different things. Like I have a channel that I haven't lifted yet off of YouTube, just to explaining my journey and different things and holistic teachings and different things like that. So I wanted to, and I know where I would go because I'm gonna give credit to my source, and it ain't Jesus. Y'all not gonna hear that on my channel, so I wanted to come out and tell y'all. I wanted to come out and tell y'all first, but it was like coming out of the closet, and I made it a lot harder, and I will give them credit. My sisters, 2 of my 3 sisters, was one of them that made the conversation, and I told both of them after, I was like, Dad, I thank y'all, because I didn't give y'all enough credit with, and one of them was like, okay, well, one of them told me, we already knew that, because they came and saw certain books on my, in the house, and different things I would talk about, and said something I said in a conversation a year before that let her know, so I'm like, oh, y'all have been paying attention, but I had to still relay it and come out for myself.
To free yourself.
So it's still a couple other people I need to, and I guess I need to before this video.
They gonna know that.
You got a few days. That's it.
That's
Friday.
You heard me.
That's why you asked me that.
Turnaround time. I got one more time. All right, okay. But I ain't apologizing for it. I am who I am, and I love it. Yes. The best I've ever been in my life.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Miss Keyanna.
Your coming out story.
Yeah, who did you
I think the toughest one was Nanny.
Yeah.
Who was that?
My grandmother.
Okay.
This is who basically dragged my ear to church every Sunday with the peppermints. It was just a Sunday routine. And when I came out and told her, she was very like somber and like, how could you not believe? Well, look at everything that you've been through with school. How was you gonna pay for school if you didn't give glory to God? I said, Nanny, I lied on some applications. Okay, I had to do what I had to do to stay in school. So, do I give glory to God for that? You know what I'm saying?
According to them, you do.
Or do I give the glory to my own street smarts and me knowing what I need to do to get
survive.
to where
Exactly.
So she was probably the toughest person. But when I created boundaries and just, basically put my foot down, I wasn't approached the same way. Oh, can I pray for you? Oh, well, let's pray about it. I wasn't approached like that no more. Well, now you could believe in your universe. And I'm cool with that too, because I know by example and how I'm living, it's working.
Yep.
That's right.
That's all
Exactly. That's what matters.
And what you're doing, you're still miserable.
Still running in circles.
And it doesn't even make me angry when I'll have the conversation. Like one of my sisters asked me, well, how do you feel? So you don't want nobody talking about the Lord around you, this and the other. I'm like, I'm not going to be disrespectful to your religion, but you're not going to try to convince me.
Don't force it on me.
Otherwise,
Yes,
exactly.
right.
And we have that understanding, and I appreciate that so much. But what I won't do is allow anybody not only to don't force it on me and don't disrespect what I believe. Because I guarantee if we get into that discussion, your feelings gonna be hurt before mine.
Don't speak to me as if I'm lost.
Exactly.
Yes. Y'all the ones that's lost.
Yeah.
We were once lost.
I'm still praying for you.
That's why I said I ain't there yet because I can't have a mature
I'm
conversation when it gets to that.
Yeah.
I heard your feelings.
Yeah.
I'm still praying for you.
Karllette, who?
I'm gonna tell you, I had to come out 2 times.
Okay.
But for real, you know.
And which one was harder? But go ahead.
Believe it or not, neither. And let me tell you one.
Okay.
Because a lot of my family already knew who I was, you know, as far as my sexuality. They just never told me, and they could have saved me a lot of heartache. But I'm thankful for my children. I would have had my children if they would have gave me the okay a long time ago. But as far you know a lot of my family, and a lot of them are deep Christians.
Absolutely.
Holiness. And,
I'm
gonna tell you, I think because of the person that I am and my temperament and how aggressive I can be, nobody came at me incorrect.
I can see that, yeah.
So everybody, it was kind of like, basically I started posting Catrice on Facebook and Instagram. That's your introduction. Like,
I remember when you told me because, we're working at Jacksonville.
Yeah, we had.
And I had heard it, and I was like, hold on.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't ask you, but one night you came in and you just told me.
Yeah.
And that made me feel good that you just came in and just told me.
You my brother.
Yeah. Because I was wondering, and maybe I guess, I was wondering, I was like, well, how come I ain't heard nothing from her? Not that you had to tell me, but I'm like.
Because I didn't hide it at all.
Yeah, because you just came and told me. I was like, okay, good.
I ain't hide it. I didn't give a damn who knew.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because I was done. You know what I'm saying?
That's beautiful.
And then even with my Christianity,
yeah.
You know what? Believe it or not, it was easier for me to come out as a lesbian versus saying I'm no longer a Christian.
That's what I was figuring.
But still, Catrice ain't in the camera, but she know that I was ready to chin check anybody that had something to say about either one. We went to Philly and one of my aunts went upstairs, right? And I introduced Catrice as my girlfriend. I was like, this is my girlfriend. And my aunt went upstairs and she came back down. She was like, so I told Catrice when she went upstairs, so I was like, yo, I'm gonna tell you now. She come down here with that bullshit. It's gonna be a wrap. But she came downstairs and she was like, so like y'all like live together, girlfriends? And I was like, yeah, auntie. She was like, hey, love who you love. No, okay. But at the end of the day, I really believe they support me and they love me because I'm still the same Karllette.
Yes.
Ain't nothing changed. I'm still the same Karllette. I'm just not a Christian and I'm gay. So with that being said,
but you're free.
I'm free. Exactly. And I feel like y'all should love me even more because I'm not all tight and bottled up and so it was easy for me, but for Tonya more so, I was scared for her. Yeah. Hope I ain't gotta fight nobody with you.
I was in tears a little bit because I was not gonna accept any disrespect from anybody. I'm strong in what I believe now, and I was prepared for it though. So whatever you came at me with, one thing that one person I shared with bothered me a little bit, but I was like, let them have that because they might be hurt a little bit. But what I wanted to say too is like, people called me for so much over the years when I was strong in the church for prayer. When I had a few extra dollars because it wasn't much when I was in the church for money or for anything, advice or just to be around me. I had all the sense in the world then. So all of a sudden, because I say I don't believe in this anymore, now y'all starting to question like, no, I'm the same person.
And don't
now why I gotta be crazy now, even though nobody came at me like that. But that's what I was prepared for, that mentality, because it exists. Everybody's so quick, they just need a little prayer or something.
Just a side question. With the people you had to tell, were you prepared, knowing the gravity of it, were you prepared to possibly end that relationship if they didn't approve or accept what you told them?
Yeah, I was because
it can come to that.
Yeah,
what
I was simply because how people will be. What I was expecting from a couple of individuals is, all right, well, I'm gonna just pray for you, this, that, and the other, and I wasn't angry as far as I wasn't I didn't think that I would be angry or it would warrant an angry response. Just like how I was in the church and I would have sympathy for people outside of the church, it's probably about 10 times more significant now. I have a lot of sympathy, not empathy, but it saddens me when I start to think of how many people, and our people especially, that's still in the church and waiting on something to happen and really struggling, about to lose their damn minds, but they still believing in something that's most likely not going to happen without your own power and believing yourself. So it's more sadness and sympathy than anger, but I was definitely ready to cut ties in relationships. But just like I believe in karma. I believe in good and bad karma. So I knew to a certain extent it wouldn't come to that, because that's not what I wanted. That's not what I would put out there. They know I'm a peaceful person always, and I would still take your calls, keep limited to certain content, but at the same time, I was kind of comfortable in saying that I don't think it would come to that. I didn't think it would. So, but I was prepared, definitely.
Yeah. For me, I think once I established the boundary, wasn't no need to cut nobody off. My grandmother, I can't cut Nanny off. So it's like with her, it was like I established the boundary. And initially she gave me some pushback, but it was cool after a while. It did, she would slip up on her words. Well, whoever you want to pray to.
Yeah. That's what I'm told too.
And I'm okay with that as long as you're at least trying to get to know me on the new version of me. I'm cool with it. I do not mind teaching people how to treat me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My mom and I, we are a team with everything. And for real, my mother has evolved spiritually as well now. She shares the same beliefs that all of us share.
What?
But yes, very much so. My mother we on the same
It's
way.
impressive when an older person, someone
and
older.
She was a missionary.
Yeah.
My mother shares the same spiritual beliefs we share right now. We have these conversations every day. My mother and
That's
I.
beautiful.
But I'm gonna tell you something I said to my mom, because at first I came out gay.
That was first.
And you know what I told my mom? I said, you know what? I wonder if a lot of these Christians really believe what they read, because at the end of the day, and I know it's going to be some people, Christians, they're going to make an excuse for this, whatever. I don't know how you can be gay and be a Christian. Do you really believe what you're reading? You feel me? What they gonna say? Well, Jesus, he died for our sins. Really? So that's your past. See, it's always an excuse. They got a pass. They got a hall pass all the time. But there's no way that
limitless get out of jail free card.
Yes,
and they memorize them so good.
Yes, what works for them.
And they think they be having a big joke or two. Boom.
Yes.
Yeah. Weak shit out of you.
Exactly. But really, bro, that's what my mom. And when I told her that I was no longer a Christian and I was evolving into a spiritual being. And I said, that is what I said to her, Mommy, how can I be gay and be a Christian? That means I don't believe what I'm reading. They weren't ready for that, I promise you, because there's going to be a whole lot of them that's going to watch it be like, Karllette fucking crazy. Karllette is still the realest.
But then and I was going to say the other side will be like,
and in that order.
Because some people, and I'm glad I have you all that are not bashful about telling your story, because some people are sitting back afraid.
Definitely, yes.
But sometimes you talk to people behind the scenes, and they'll share with you, even people in the church, even preachers sometimes are teetering on.
But the thing about it, anything driven out of fear cannot be good, and it ain't gonna end well.
Right.
And religion is based off fear.
They don't.
You gonna die in the fiery pits of hell if you don't abide by these things.
Let me jump in with mine, because my daddy was the one I was terrified. Absolutely, because pastor, all my uncles and stuff, that whole side of the family is as church as you can get. So I was free, out with the people. I was, not afraid to share with anybody, but I knew I had to have that conversation with him to be really free. And touching on what you were just saying about hell. The first time we spoke about it, I was at the Y. I was working out, I was just finished, and we were talking, and he was saying some things, and I didn't realize I was at the point I was ready to tell him, but it just came out because what he was saying was irritating me so bad. I said, day. So I stepped into the little kids' room where one of the kids said,
"Today is the day."
And I said, Dad, why would I serve a God that, say God is love, that would send me to hell for disobeying a rule when you wouldn't even do that?
And when he knew you was going to break the rule anyway.
And you was
child. And if God's love is supposed to be higher than your love, how come you can do something more noble than what God can do.
Yes.
And he couldn't really say nothing but say, and I'm not saying nothing to disrespect my pop.
Right.
But say something cliche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's the only person I don't really push back with when he still say, well, I'm still praying for you, son.
Mm-hmm.
I let him have that.
Right.
Because 70-some years old, he not gonna
Yeah.
change.
And you gonna hold on to their beliefs.
Yeah.
You know?
So there's
That's
no
all
need
they
for me
got.
to, well, daddy, blah, blah, blah. And then the second conversation, I was at a truck stop, I think maybe in Alabama. And that's when I really went more in depth about just more so giving him questions of why I don't believe this. That he really couldn't give me answers back to. Other than, well, son, one day I hope you come back, blah, blah, blah. And I could hear the disappointment. He didn't fuss as I kind of expected. He didn't, he was more so disappointed. And even now, he still is hoping, and I won't say daddy.
Let it go, daddy. Let
Let
it
it go, daddy.
You posted something that I shared with so many people.
What was
This
that?
was years ago, and you had posted. It was years ago, but I'm gonna just summarize real quick. Would you put your child in a basement full of fire and lock the door?
That's what I told my pops. That might have been around
If
the time we had
we
the
as
conversation.
humans
Yeah.
would not do that,
Yeah.
and we didn't even ask to come here, why would he? It just don't make sense. If
Yes,
people would
yeah.
just take the time to think, and that's why I say that ignorance is what bothers me.
And it's
Yeah.
not even based on anything you may do. It's your belief.
Yeah,
You do not
gotta
believe.
believe in me.
Like, what type of sense that makes? And I started having questions. I realized years later, in the more recent years, I started having questions very early on in the church. I would say maybe even 7-8 years ago, before I started transitioning. Like I said earlier, I left mentally before I did physically.
Right.
But even before that, I started having a lot of questions. And that was one of them. When something didn't sound right, I hated. I despised those cliche responses. Don't give me nothing cliche that sound good because that's what you're supposed to say. Like when somebody
tell
dies,
them
I can't stand that. I'm gonna pray for you. For what? What do I need right now? Like my kids, I'm gonna be like in the zone. My kids might need to be picked up from school. My husband, is the financial
Help me.
the bearer or
Yes.
something. Give me some money
Help
or something
me.
that's gonna help me. What is your prayer gonna
Yes.
do? I can't
Nothing.
stand that response. So a bunch of cliche answers to questions that I had really pushed me out a lot faster than I thought was going to happen in the first place.
And to go back to the fear part, I remember being in like the youth ministry, and I remember going to like it was like a sexual revival.
What the?
And that's the best way I could put
What
it.
the fuck?
I know. I was like 14.
I might go back to church for that one.
Wait. When we got there, my grandmother sent me there because she was on the connotation that I was going to learn about sex. But it was more so instilling the fear about having sex.
Okay, yeah.
They showed so many slides on STDs, green vaginas, and I'm just looking like this is the
But where's the
experience.
healthy discussion?
Yes,
Right.
why are they not
fear-based?
Why are y'all not educating us about contraception, going to the doctor?
You create life through sex. So where's the healthy conversation?
Why
about
y'all making
stuff
it like it's
that?
something that is bad and doesn't?
Exactly.
Why
Okay,
y'all don't
it
tell us
should-
that it feels good, but here's how to be responsible?
Exactly. What?
Yes.
Or
That
even
makes the most sense.
Or even not saying there's anything right with this, but you think that you're not supposed to have sex before marriage. But you got men out here making 14 and
pushing none of my
15
kids to get
kids.
Mm-hmm.
14, 15 kids, they still here. Why the hell they ain't go to hell?
That's a fact.
Why haven't they went to hell yet? Because they done had 15. They had 15 chances to go to hell. What the hell yet, Sky Daddy?
And I know we get ready to wrap this
On
joint
break,
up,
yeah, on break.
but just to say, none of us celebrate holidays.
Right.
But this is our first year. We done planned a girls trip for Juneteenth.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And we're going down to
That's
Atlanta,
dope.
and it's for spiritual wellness, cultural wellness.
That's a spot to be in too.
Yeah.
We're gonna become one with the
Can't
earth,
wait.
meditate, have girls' time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
On that weekend,
Yes.
that anniversary weekend.
Yes.
So it's something about that
It's
we
so
definitely looking forward
intentional.
to.
Because
Yeah.
we're looking for big, not, of course better, but bigger things amongst not just at our our jobs, but also personally.
Yeah.
We want to be better women. We want to be better women to our families.
And because we
You
know
know,
once we're a better
yes.
woman, it doesn't stop just with us.
Yes.
We got people
Yes.
coming after us, people
Yes.
that we influence. So we definitely looking forward to that.
I think it's safe to say we recognize Juneteenth. I think it's safe to say we recognize we are like the healing source of our families.
Yes, we are.
Definitely.
All three of us.
Yeah, I would be comfortable saying that because it's so much more. My sisters and stuff, we were on a group chat and they'll joke, and I didn't respond to just like yesterday or the day before. Because of you, I'm looking up this or doing this, that, and the other. And I'm like, good. Keep doing it because after all these years we in the church, why wasn't you taught about your physical health being as important? But no, on the flip side, we go to somebody's funeral who died of high cholesterol and a heart attack, and we serving fried chicken, fried greens, with pork in it and all of that stuff. Like, at least dish it up. But like, come on now, just the stuff
Why
that's
are
not
we
making
still eating
sense.
chitlins? We don't have to eat that no more.
And here's the thing: people still would try to joke you for saying, "Look, that's trash." They were still, but the mentality of our people is, you're the one that's corny for saying you eat chitlins. Or you a vegan.
Your grandma ate it.
Because I was a vegan for about 8 months. Oh, you a vegan? You goddamn right I am.
Yeah. It's sad, but it's progress.
So what's some resources people need to know, like where they can go or what they can do if you all have any information, if they want to get some type of help or get into a program or anything, y'all know of any resources that y'all can
well, I know where they're not. It's like
that's a fact. Yeah. Save your time.
I know where
save
they're
your
not.
money.
Okay. If you don't know by now, then I can't help you.
The company we work for, black owned,
That's
awesome
dope.
company. Is he still the only person? And he's not even 50 years old. Been in business 20 years. Are we still the only agency in the state that offers housing? You know.
All the services we offered it. Yes, definitely.
We offer substance abuse, crisis stabilization, mental health skills building, and we provide the housing. So basically, these people cannot utilize the tools that they're given if they just come and sit with you for an hour and then they got to go back into that environment that's bringing them down mentally. So we work for OneSource Community Mental Health in Richmond, Virginia, North Chesterfield.
Okay.
I don't know the phone number by heart, but just up on Facebook. We all got business cell phones. I'm not giving mine out right now. However, you can hook up with us. You can contact Ed if need be.
I'll put the information in.
Yes, and I'll give you the phone. Yes, I'll give you the phone number with our extensions. Right. But yes, and we are the only company that offers actual living. Apartment buildings. We own a few apartment buildings. Our substance livings. Yes, our substance.
But it depends on what somebody's circumstances is for us to be able to say this resources is good for you, or a lot of factors play a part. So we three are the head of the mental health skills building department.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to contact any of us, then we can at least try to help point them in the right direction. Because of course it's based on your location as well. If you're relocating or your insurance as well, we can at least lead you in the right direction.
But if you are not in the Virginia area, the best place to start would be maybe your community service board for mental health resources if you are wherever.
That's dope.
It's important to start somewhere, and don't ignore whatever negative thoughts you have. Don't ignore them. Act on them.
Okay.
Don't act on them.
I was gonna say, please clarify.
Don't act on them, but
get help.
Yes, get
and
help.
Know your power.
Yes, yes.
And we just gonna go around real quick. Just give one, as we get to close, give one important reason why you should pay attention to your mental health. Just everybody go around real quick.
I'll use this example I explained in one of the videos a while ago. If you have a brand new car, luxury car you love, and it looks good on the outside, it's just as clean. Might have heard this example before, but this is the best way I can put it.
It's good.
It's just clean. Even the interior is the outside, the exterior, but the main part that keeps it running, the engine. If you don't constantly keep the maintenance up on that car ain't getting you nowhere. Right. Your mind is the same thing. We have all these nerves and things going on in our head. It drives everything. Believe it or not, it doesn't just create your thoughts. There are receptors in your brain that tells you to put one foot in front of the other in order for you to walk, in order for you to pick up something to eat. And that starts up here. Right. If this is not well, you're going to be the walking dead. Like, that's really. Right. And not just physically. Mental illness manifests beyond the physical. It's your thoughts that are constantly, if they're constantly negative, or the people you that are gravitating towards you constantly. A lot of that energy is transferred. Everything starts here. So it's important. It's so important. And once you realize that, then you can start making the moves to take care of your mental health. But first realize that it is a factor in everything we do, everything we say, and it matters.
Yeah. Miss Keyanna.
Repeat the question for me.
Okay, what's one last important thing, one reason why people should like monitor and maintain their mental health?
It's the motherboard of your body. It controls everything, how you behave, how you interact with people. We as humans, we need connections, and if you walking around and are unclear and there's no clarity up here, your connections aren't going to be healthy. You're going to start making faulty decisions, and just it's not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for the masses.
This is good. That's beautiful. Karllette, what you got?
All right, as a professional and as a mother, I say you need to take care of your mental health, because where you are mentally will affect your family, your children, and if you don't take care of yourself first mentally, holistically, you're no good to anyone else, and it's just going to be a domino effect, and you'll have generations of mentally ill people that don't understand why. It has to start with you.
Yes.
That's part of breaking those what they call generational curses
Yes.
and things like that.
Yeah.
That's
It's
beautiful.
funny how it's so
Yeah,
prevalent
keep
in the
going
black
talking.
community.
It really is. And one thing that you made me think of when people
keep
say, my
bringing it
kids come first, and this, that, and the other, cut that mess out. Because we say a whole lot of that shit too, because it sounds so good.
Yeah.
My kids come first, so I do anything. Like, no, if yourself don't come first, what good are you to your
Children.
kids and
That's
anybody around you? It's okay to say, I come first, and
That's
go
right.
from there. Then your kids. But what are your kids without you?
Even an example to what you're saying, and like I said, we're gonna wrap it up, but we could keep going.
I know I can't.
I've had some friends along the way, right? And they have kids, and let me be clear, I don't ever underestimate the job of a single mother. So I'm not saying this to diminish anything. But okay, the kids would be up all night. They claim they couldn't get no sleep. Kids staying up half the night. And I told them, tell the kids go to bed. This your house.
We had grown kids
Simple
in our
as that.
house, and I let them know your
Go to
ass
bed.
ain't in here by 10 o'clock, the top lock.
Yeah. If you want your house quiet or you want kids in the room by
know it.
9 o'clock, send them to their room. You have the power to have control over your house.
Yes.
Kids ain't got to be up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning in my house.
And they don't understand that's affecting
But
your
you
wellness.
know what? When you give up your
There's
power
no
in
structure.
one area, it's so
Structure.
easy to give up the power in all other aspects of
Yes.
your life. And with religion, you gave up all your power. You're giving it all up. So it's like a
Yes.
domino effect. It's going to take precedence in
You
your
gotta
house.
chuck
You
everything
don't have no
up
control.
to being a good Christian, opposed to you doing what's right for you, your household, whatever.
Yeah, but that whole mentality, when you give up your power,
You come
and
first.
you give up your power, it's a domino effect. It affects every area. You become comfortable with not having no control, and it trickles down into every aspect. So it's like, why even try? I don't control the main part of my life, my mental health. I gotta give all credit to everybody but me, whatever entity you believe in.
Right.
So it's easy to do in other aspects.
Look, this has been beautiful. This has been better than good. This is probably one of the most important episodes I've done so far, because none of anything else that we do can be done unless we get this right.
That's right.
Realize it's okay to not be okay, and that it's okay to
Yes.
get help.
Yes.
Sometimes, because people will stop with, it's okay to not be okay. Then what?
Right, and get help.
It's okay to get help that helps. Not the help you were programmed to, not the religion and some choose other vices. I won't even get into that, because some are beneficial. Some of those vices are beneficial, so I won't even condemn anybody for that. But get real help. We got some resources that's going to be listed in the description. I want to thank you all again for taking the time to come
you
out.
so much.
Some of y'all had to drive a
This
few
was
miles.
Awesome.
Even though one of them was late.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm just messing with you.
You still love
I'm
her,
glad
though.
you can.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I came, though.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Look, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. We're gonna get out of here. Y'all check this out and share it with a friend. This is valuable information. My goal on my platform is to put up information that is just as good in 10 years as it is right now. So somebody can go in 10 years and be having the same issues and say, wow, I'm inspired by that. So thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all be safe. Check us out next time.
We thank you too, Ed.
Yeah. Thank you.